industry. It's starring James Franco, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Emily Mead, and Gary Carr. It's got a whopping 91% on Rotten, and it's just been, bonus news for you guys, it's just been renewed for season 2.
Nice.
Going ahead with this, if you are sensitive to nudity or anything that's kind of because they push the envelope with the sexual stuff in this, as you know, HBO does.
Yeah,
they're no stranger to it. If you've seen Game of Thrones or pretty much anything else they've done, they're pretty okay with nudity. But this is a little bit more shocking, as they just the way they depict it. But it's not. It's not per se gross, because I actually found out the other day that the creator didn't want to make it seem like he was how do you say, like, glorifying the industry, and so he hired nothing but women to work on it.
Okay.
So you can get that kind of feel, kind of like how Mad Max Fury Road. All of everybody that was working behind that director was women.
Oh, really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so anyway, you can really feel that for this show, and I would definitely check it out if you're not squeamish with sensitive subjects. Yeah. But it's definitely something to check out. Anyway, moving on to our movie focus.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
Slither. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of an underrated classic now.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people don't know about it.
Or they don't know that James Gunn, who is a big household name now. He might as well be like the next J.J. Abrams. Yeah, basically. Pretty much. This was pretty much his debut work, it's so good. Yeah. It holds up so well still. But anyway, going into it, it's rated R. It was from 2006. It's considered a horror comedy. It's an hour and 36 minutes long. It's got an 86 on Rotten.
Oh, okay.
Not too bad. It's starring Michael Rooker of... What has he been in? Mallrats.
Mallrats. Trying to think, what else has he been in?
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. I think that was his first film. Definitely, if you haven't seen that, you need to check it out. It's very disturbing stuff. Nathan Fillion, who's from Serenity, Castle, Guardians. Yeah. Elizabeth Banks from... she's the newest reincarnation of Rita Repulsa.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And what else? And Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yeah.
It was directed and written by James Gunn, of course, who did Guardians of the Galaxy. He wrote the Dawn of the Dead remake for Zack Snyder. Yeah. Which let me say, the first 20 minutes of that movie are fucking fantastic. Yeah. It gets me every time. Let's jump into the synopsis of this one. So, when an alien organism ends up in a small town, things start to go wrong after somebody is infected, and the organism quietly starts to take over the rest of the town and eventually our world. Can we stop it before it's too late?
Can we?
Also, Tyler Bates did the music for this. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No, I'm not.
But he's had a hand in all this stuff that we love. Like, he just did the Atomic Blonde score. Oh, wow, okay. He did the John Wick score. Oh, okay, yeah. He did both of the Guardians scores. Oh, damn. He did the score for Watchmen. Shit. This guy's definitely killing it. So if you're into soundtracks, go check out his work if you're not familiar yet. So before we get into my Swann facts, James, what did you think about watching this film again? How long has it been since you've seen it? Okay. Just give me your first words.
So I think the last time I watched this was probably maybe 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
I think I watched it on TV.
Yeah.
And it holds up. I mean, it's only been, I think, like I said, 2 or 3 years, but it holds up from the last time I saw it, and I think I saw it maybe 2 or 3 years before the last time I watched it.
Okay, so it's not something you watch too regularly either. Okay.
after watching it right now, I'm actually thinking about buying it. I don't know if it's on Blu-ray or just DVD, but I'm gonna check that out so I can add it to my collection. I like this movie. I think the mixture of comedy and horror really goes together well. And for James Gunn, who is now primarily known for I guess the Guardians movies.
Yeah.
It's sort of a fresh type of movie to see from him.
Yeah, that he definitely is well rounded.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he is a fan of the horror genre.
Yeah, you can tell he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
In that genre.
Exactly. To answer your question about the Blu-ray, it just got a deluxe special edition release from our friends at Shout Factory or Scream Factory.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should be able to find that everywhere now.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna check that out.
And it's got some director-approved brand new artwork as a slipcover.
Okay.
So yeah, I would definitely check that out. It's jam-packed with some brand new special features, and so there's their free little plug.
Yeah. I actually have the same question for you. When's the last time you saw it, and what did you think of it?
Yeah, I think it was around the same time that you probably watched it, maybe 2-ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do own the DVD we just watched. It's not something that I watched so much all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it's a bad movie. I just have so much stuff that I can't really cycle through it all.
Yeah.
And I'm very busy. But I do love this film. And other than a few little, like maybe 10% of the CGI stuff really bothers me in this. That,
I think I know what part you're talking. There's a specific part for me that the CGI didn't kind of took me out of the movie a little bit, but
you're just like, oh man.
But it's like all this movie's from 2005, right?
2006.
2006. So I mean, you can't really hate on it that much.
Yeah, I was just junior in high school. I think when this dropped, I can remember somebody being like, one of my friends, they were like, "Oh, this movie looks fucking terrible." But that it goes without saying that people aren't some people aren't gonna get that it's supposed to be intentionally bad.
Yeah.
To a certain point.
Oh yeah.
So people are gonna think that it's just a bad movie as opposed to that's the genre that they were hitting on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To not take themselves so seriously. And if anything, this isn't factual. This is just my own perspective. But I think that Planet Terror, the first half of Grindhouse, probably borrowed a lot of its because it feels very Slither.
Okay, yeah,
You know
I can see that.
Yeah, just like with the whole small town and how they come together and they're fighting this together, it feels very like almost like there's a few beats in there that I'm sure
pulling from it.
He saw Slither and was inspired by it. I would hope. Before we get into anything that could spoil it, let's do our spoiler alert for anybody. You've had a lot of time to watch this, but if you don't want to know if you've never seen this movie and you don't want us to spoil it, we're going to talk freely from this point on.
Yeah.
So maybe put it on pause and go check it out. I'm sure you can rent it for a couple $, or even find it, I'm sure, on Amazon for a good price. So there you go.
Spoiler
alert. So what do you want to do next, man? You want to keep talking about it first, or you want to do the Swann facts and then continue?
Let's do this. They can do the Swann facts, and then we'll jump into more of the movie.
Okay, cool. All right. To start off, Rooker actually dislocated his shoulder during filming and didn't say anything. And the specific scene that happened was when he's attacking Starla, who is his wife. When he does there's this scene where his arm kind of expands, and it's like almost like a large tentacle.
Yeah.
And that's not CGI. That's like an actual practical prosthetic that they attached to his arm. And I guess it was so heavy that it popped his shoulder out of the socket, and he kept filming.
Oh man, that's tough. I've had my shoulder pop out a few times, and I know the pain. It's hard to do anything after that, but that's pretty crazy. That he stayed in character like that. That's insane.
Yeah, he's a trooper, man. Next up, James Gunn got his start with Troma, who are they're like the little independent exploitation film company who are behind the Toxic Avenger.
Okay.
And I think he first worked on what was the first film he did was titled Tromeo and Juliet. Most of the characters and different streets and places in the town are named after various famous horror characters and filmmakers.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. While filming at one of the locations, there was a Hell's Angels party going on next door. There was actually a dispute between the crew and a Hell's Angel who actually they had blocked off the street because that's where they were filming.
Yeah,
and there was a biker that tried to. I guess he rode through their like caution tape or something. Just rode through it, didn't give a fuck, and they called him out on it. And then he got upset. He goes back to the place where they're having the party and grabs a bunch of fireworks and starts setting them off out in front.
Wow, what a dick.
Just to just to disrupt the filming.
Oh man.
So that's scary because the Hell's Angels are fucking scary.
They don't mess around.
Rob Zombie came on to do the voice of Dr. Carl in the beginning of the film. I guess it was a favor asked of him by Mr. Gunn. The scene is very quick, and you could probably blink and miss it, but Starla calls was Dr. Carl to... Okay, so Starla calls Dr. Carl, and she's worried about Grant, who's played by Michael Rooker's character. I guess, and she wants to follow up with his condition because in a few scenes before that, Grant's like, "Oh, I'm fine," and he's clearly not fine.
Yeah, he's all deformed.
Yeah, and he says that he's already been to the doctor, and the doctor said that everything was okay. He lies to Starla to try to prolong the process. So, anyway, my point with bringing that scene up is that that's actually Rob Zombie, and you would have to be listening for it, but you can't really tell that it's him. It's
something that you wouldn't know unless you actually looked it up or someone told you about it, that's pretty cool. I like that, those little things that directors do.
The next one, The Thing was looked at as their Bible on the set of this film.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know what The Thing is, it's a classic monster alien film from the great John Carpenter.
Yeah.
So
that's a film I want to do on here, hopefully sometime in the future.
Yeah,
definitely.
Let's do it. Nathan Fillion and Michael Rooker worked together on Super from 2010, and which is J.J. Abrams, right?
Yes,
I think. Yeah, that's him. Pretty sure. And the first Guardians that was released in 2014. Right under the 1 hour mark, there is a scene in which a mother is putting her two daughters to bed. You can see, actually, both of the daughters are reading Goosebumps
I saw
books.
that. That's the first thing I noticed.
But the one that's in focus, the one that's closer to us as we're watching the framed shot, the book is titled The Girl Who Cried Monster.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of nods to stuff in this. And my last Swann fact is James Gunn considers this to be a classic Universal Monsters movie, which is why a lot of his is intentionally over the top.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Let's chat about the film a little bit.
Yeah. First, I want to go to the visual effects.
Yes.
Or just not the visual effects, but the I want to talk about the makeup and everything.
Okay.
I really like the way they did Grant's his progression